Hello, I'm Lambi Newsham here with Lois Bhatt, Executive Director of Bridges. Lois, I know you're celebrating 25 years, which is so exciting.
It is.
And I know you had your celebration back in May.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. We were very excited. It's been 25 years since Jeff and Ginger Warden, who were Summit residents, made their first outreach visit to New York City under the Brooklyn Bridge, which is, of course, where we get our name from, Bridges.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
And what prompted them to go to the Brooklyn Bridge?
Well, I think they were both living in Summit but working in New York City. So passing homeless people on their way to work every day, knew that they were living under the Brooklyn Bridge. Back in 25 years ago, lots of people lived under the Brooklyn Bridge. It's since all been boarded up, plastered up. So that's not the case anymore, but in those days it was. And so they got into their car one night with some sandwiches and thermoses of soup and coffee made in their kitchen and went out to the bridge. And as Jeff always tells this story, he says, you know, he knew there were people there, but he actually couldn't get anybody to respond to him. And finally he got one man who talked to him and was receptive to the coffee and the soup and the sandwiches. And Jeff said, it's really strange, I can't find anybody else. And he said, oh, they're here. And he started calling around and people started coming out. And there was a community of people living under the bridge who Jeff and Ginger got to meet that night. And at the end of the evening, the man said, you know, this was nice, but I know we'll never see you again. And Jeff said, no, we'll be here next week. And we've not missed a Friday night run into New York City since that night.
And that's what I read, that they were surprised the second week.
Yes,
That this man, you know, this couple came back again,
right.
and that people were being so generous. And
that's right.
And I heard even with Sandy, you still made it, right?
We did. We were in, you know, the week of 9/11. We went in for Sandy. You know, fortunately, one of our employees lives in Brooklyn, and so he and some friends got together, made sandwiches, and went out and did that run. We've been out in snowstorms. I mean, I've taken the train in myself with as much as we could carry and gone in by train because people wait for us. They depend on us. I mean, a lot of people will find shelter in storms, but there's a small group of people always there waiting for us.
And I know you have different runs, so tell me a little bit. And
Sure.
Where does is it the food and clothing? I mean, so
Yeah.
where do you tell me like Friday? Start the weekend. For
Sure.
me.
So Friday nights we go out to New York City, and Saturdays to Newark, where we go to several locations, and Sundays to Irvington. And then on Fridays we open our doors to neighbors in need in Summit. So we can have between 4 and 40 people come through on a Friday.
And what are they getting when they come to Bridges? Like, what are they getting?
So when they come to Bridges, they're getting food, whatever seasonal clothing they need, anything they need for their children. For those who are really living on the street or living in substandard conditions, we offer showers. You know, they'll hang out for a while and get you know, just hang out and chat for a bit. So
and you're saying, where's the food come from?
Food comes from many sources. Our food is donated. We have bag lunches because the people we're meeting don't have kitchens. So.
I remember my kids doing.
Right. So we have lots of groups, schools. We have schools all around this area who will, every class on a different Friday will make lunches. Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops, churches, synagogues, office groups. You know, lots of people, lots of groups will make lunches for us. What we started this year, which we are finding very helpful, are what we call sustainable lunches, which is not a very catchy name, but we're looking for a better name. What it is a lunch that is complete in a bag that will keep.
And I understand you have a new program that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody a
Well,
little
we're
bit?
very excited. This is a brand new program. It is in Newark. We have for a long time been doing more and more in Newark, whereas there's a great homeless population right around Penn Station area. There are estimated to be about 175 people living on the streets in that area alone. And for the past 2 years, we have formed what we call a coalition of services. So we've got about 25 service providers from hospitals, private, you know, public, and nonprofit to come out with us and provide an array of services. And we're ready to take that next leap where we have a permanent location in Newark. We've got a place on Broad Street. We're going to be partnering with Newark Services, Emergency Services for Families, and we will have space in that building. They're really working with families. We're really working with homeless, mostly men. So it's a perfect marriage, and we're going to be able to bring our coalition and our services inside on a daily basis. We'll also be able to do some case management and really help people get from the street, get an ID, get everything they need in place to eventually get housing. So we really are taking this leap.
That's great. And when will
It's a
that
big leap.
happen?
It will start January 1st. It will be up and running February 1st. And we hope that we will have lots of new volunteer opportunities at that location starting around March 1st.
Well, that's really exciting.
It is very
Lois.
exciting.
And
Very
I'm so
exciting.
happy for you because I know you from our school supply drive,
Yes.
and we're happy for you, and we thank you for coming in. And I know there's so many different ways people can volunteer and to donate, and they can go on your website, correct?
Absolutely.
And what's
Absolutely.
the website?
Bridgesoutreach.org.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lambi. It was a pleasure.